Whether you're new to pool and practicing the basics, or a more experienced player performing drills to improve your shot making and positional play, the Drill Partner is perfect for you.
PremierBilliards.com. Exceptional cues, cases, and accessories from top-tier brands. Want it? Need it? Find it. PremierBilliards.com.
Welcome back to another edition of Dogging It. I am Molina Mike, and it's been a little bit since we've been able to do a show. I'm excited to be here. We got a lot of stuff that I've been working on, trying to get guests, and we got Shane Tyree in the back waiting to come on, and so we're going to talk Junior Nationals with him. But I want to do a recap of Buffaloes. We're going to have a ton of stuff for the World Championship, like some betting line shows, also just kind of previewing in general, and then yeah, when the World Championship starts, it's just going to be all hands on deck. Pinozzo's out there. I got another friend of mine who's out there as well that we're going to be doing some live stuff with. So I'm real excited. Let me know in the chat if you guys can hear me and see me all right. I'm forgetting a couple of sponsors. Let me throw them up here. Big shout out to all of our sponsors who helped put on the show and who've been sticking by us over the last however long we've been doing it. It's been a little bit already. And so but I'm trying to get Roberto on. I'm trying to get just a couple of other guys leading into these big events. There's so much stuff going on in pool, including Junior Nationals, which we got some news about as well that hopefully we'll be dropping on the show. And yeah, man, I'm pumped. So without further ado, I told him I wasn't going to ask any WPA stuff. And so I don't, he's already smiling in the back. I can see him already. I like making my man squirm a little bit. He wears a lot of hats, but today he's wearing his BCA shirt. How are you, Shane?
I had to make it very clear.
He did.
While I was coming on today.
He had me sign some documentation saying, "Don't ask this, don't ask that." We know the routine by now.
Yeah, don't ask about my marriage to Ben Affleck. That's off the table. It's okay.
we all get divorced, buddy.
I know you mentioned Saudi Arabia here soon. Be going out there.
You are.
Yeah, Saturday. So I'm very excited to go to the Kingdom and see the World Championship firsthand. I know I saw the event in Poland. Hopefully, FSR can repeat. It's definitely a spectacle of an event. I'm excited to go.
What does like this prize fund lead you to when it comes to optimism for the future of the sport? Like when it comes to pool, because I know, you guys handle a lot of different like sports within billiards, but as it pertains to American pool, what does this prize fund like mean for you guys?
Well, I was at the BCA general membership meeting at the Expo in March, and during that time, I told the membership meeting that this is the first time in the past 15 years that I'm comfortable going to the Billiard Education Foundation players and parents and telling them, look, you can make a legitimate profession out of this.
Yeah.
Don't only concentrate on getting an education, but there's more money being poured into the sport right now than ever before. And this is the first time where you can see the top 10, 12, 15 guys all making six figures a year. And it's just more impressive than it's ever been. So to see a prize purse where I believe the champion's going to get $250,000. Is that correct, Mike, here in Saudi?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, $250,000.
I imagine I'm going to see some elbows shaking and some knees shaking.
Yeah.
That's going to be a lot of money, and that's what I'll be looking for. I mean, the pressure has been ratcheted up. Hats off to Matchroom for pulling off a very successful event. I go there, with full anticipation. I know what they do. I know how successful their events are. It's not going to be a surprise. This event's going to be another huge feather in their cap, and I'm excited that I get to attend.
I got to ask because we're obviously
to your point, the future is very bright for all the juniors out there. It's brighter than it's been in probably the past 2 decades.
Yeah, I agree. And, it's like it's one thing to like talk the talk, but it seems like there's been a lot more walking the walk. And by default, like with all these big names, including Predator and, all the events they've been putting on, it's like everyone else, all these different regions within countries have been stepping up their game because they want to have their own stage, their own spotlight, their own moment to, showcase their players and have some decent money and more importantly, bring in players from around the world. And so it seems like that trickle down effect has been super positive. I'm full of optimism when it comes to the future. And of course, for the juniors as well, look, stay in school, first of all. But if you do decide to continue playing pool, then at least there's room to be able to carve out a living to some extent. And so, but before we jump into junior national stuff, we're going to talk American Hayball. But before that, since we are talking about
Come on.
World Championship stuff, I'm just going to get out of the way. We're just going to get the elephant out of the room right now. What's that relationship like with Matchroom, Shane, and the WPA? Or at least what you can tell me.
I mean, there is a relationship between Matchroom and the WPA.
Well, that's not saying a whole lot because I think that was by default in the contract that it had to be.
The only event that's officially sanctioned is the World Pool Championship, and that's what we'll go out there and attend, the World 9-Ball Championship. And this is really one of the premier events in pool. So looking forward to it. The relationship right now, it could be better. But on that token, it could also be worse.
It could definitely be worse. That's for sure. Is there any hopes for conversations between you guys and them when you're out there?
I mean, I would love to sit down and have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea with Emily and the gang, and I'm sure I will. It's always positive to have that open line of communication and dialogue. It's in the benefit of everybody for a conversation to take place. I think when I look at the World Pool Championship, World 9-Ball Championship, and look at the player list, I think one of the things that comes to my mind is, I don't really see any or too many, or if any at all, South American, Central American players represented. And that's part of the disservice of WPA and Matchroom not necessarily communicating and working together, because as a world championship,
and there's a lot of good players out of those regions as
well. You know me well enough. I love a lot of these players. I could go on and list a dozen of these players that I love, and the talent level is off the charts, and they should absolutely be represented. And so I think that's where the WPA does have strength, is by allowing these countries to be represented in these world championships.
They should be.
That's why I think the conversation should continue. Because go ahead, Mike.
No, I'll say one of many reasons why it should, but there's a lot, like that talent field is something else. And we saw Ruben, defeat Filler in Vegas this past year. We're just a couple of years removed from having another Latin American player in the finals of the World 10-Ball Championship. Like, there's talent out there that deserves its chance in the spotlight, and politics or whatever else shouldn't get in the way of letting them compete if they're able to. So, but all right, Shane, before we jump into junior national stuff, let's talk American Hayball Championship, because I remember years ago, Chinese Heyball was making a push here in the States. It's hard to get any kind of traction because you have rooms all across the country, but they're all filled with American pool tables. So, let me know. I see $100,000+ prize fund, men's and women's events. Give me some of the details of that. That's going to be out there at Quincy this year.
Absolutely. So to your point earlier about the Matchrooms and the Predators investing more into the sport, that's what we're seeing with Joy. They've made an agreement through the WPA and through all their continental members, me as the BCA, to host an event, and this event's going to be the 2024 The Americas. And so it's not just the BCA, but it's the Americas Championship. And so this is a 3-year contract for us to introduce this new discipline to the Americas and Americans specifically.
Yeah.
But I think, we've discussed it before. My vision for this junior nationals has always been to provide a platform and provide all the different Q sport disciplines to the juniors, to expose them to all these different disciplines that they see around the world.
Yeah.
I reached out to the carom people to see if we could get carom tables. We were really close to getting black ball tables, and that fell through last minute. The deal with Joy just kind of fell in our lap. So let's expose these kids to this new discipline. And not only will we have a men and women's pro tournament, but with the juniors tournament for Heyball, we're going to have 16 Heyball tables. And for the audience that's unfamiliar with what a Heyball table is, it's a 9-foot snooker table, nap cloth, rounded pockets. So it's going to play a lot tougher. But our juniors will also have a $25 entry fee to compete in this event, a boys and girls field, and both those champions in the boys and girls divisions will also get all expenses paid trip to the World Junior Heyball Junior Championships next year in 2025. And that's travel, accommodations, and they'll roll out the red carpet for our juniors, whoever our champions are, for next year's 2025 event.
So you're paying $25. You win this event on the junior division. I'm assuming there's going to be a boys and girls, and you get your full entry and your trip paid to go out there and compete on the world stage. That's pretty strong, man.
Yeah, yeah. And for the men and women, it's a $10,000 prize for the champion, along with all expenses paid to the Joy Heyball Masters next March. But even for this Heyball tournament,
which could parlay into some big money. I mean, some really big money, because it's juicy out there.
It's for real money. There's no doubt about that. The other great thing about this event is that even if you go 0-2 with a $100 entry fee, you're going to walk away with $250 in your pocket.
So you show up and you double your money no matter. So can I enter in on that?
No,
on those odds?
Absolutely not.
I got 100 I can fire at it, Shane. I'm pretty sure I can go 2 and out as well. All right.
It'll take it off my tab, right?
There you go. Well, I don't know about that, buddy. I don't know about that. We'll have to renegotiate that part. Do you have a light, Shane? Because you're there. You go.
Yeah. Let me see if I can fix it.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, no, that's pretty strong, man. So, okay, now you're sending out invites, I'm assuming, or you're getting interest when it comes to the American Hayball Championships. What's been the feedback like? Can you give me any names of players who have been interested in going or have signed up already?
Yeah, I've gotten Michael Yednick, Ricky Evans, Mason Cook, Greg Hogue. Those are the names that come off top of my head. I know I was going back and forth with SVB. But he's already committed to the one pocket event at Big Dogs. It's in Des Moines. It's a 4 or 5 hour drive away from Quincy. We moved the Heyball event up one day, so there wouldn't be as much of an overlap with that one pocket event. And any pros that want to go do the 9-ball event could still do the Heyball event, drive 4 hours, and then go do the 9-ball event. There is no overlap with the 9-ball event.
I saw that, to your point, because I had a friend of mine who was asking me, he said, hey, do you think I should go? Because Des Moines right there. And I said, yeah, you absolutely should. And let me ask you this. So is that prize fund guaranteed from the Heyball side?
Yes. Yes, it's guaranteed. I want to say contingent on a full field. I'm doing everything to fill the field. I'm confident we will get 64 men. I'm a little bit nervous about getting 64 women. Because it's such short notice. I mean, really, we started marketing this 45 days out, and it's a lot to make people change plans or make last-minute plans to come to Quincy, because we both know how easy getting to Quincy is. I think with the Big Dogs event, drivable, it'll be more enticing for some of the male players to come. For the women, I think we're going to struggle. The top payout will still be the same. I'll adjust it on the bottom end. Still, no one's going to lose money coming to play this, losing their entry fee. They'll still get paid out.
Entry for the women's the same as the men's?
Everything for the men and women event are identical. So $10,000 champion, including the payout.
Wow. Okay. So I know that you have it's like the Americas, but like, is it you have to just be in North America or South America in order to play, or can international players come and attend this event as well? What's that like, Shane?
So again, because we had 45 days to really, when I locked in the contract with Joy, we had 45 days to create promotions and market this. Yes, the continental bodies in theory would get so many allocations. Europe, Asia, Oceania would get so many allocations. I think the top 32. But really, because it's only a 45-day notice, I'm running this like an open event. I've invited all those other continental members. They're all aware of it. I've reached out to the CPB down in Central and South America, and I am getting some feedback from some Mexican players, some of the snooker Mexican players, some of the Canadian snooker players. So I'm getting some feedback, and I do think we'll get an international contingent. Next year we'll get more because we'll have more time leading into it. I want to answer Tracy real quick. Yes, Tracy, he could come play in the junior or pro Heyball event. I would probably ask Sam to play in the pro event. But
let him. No, he should play in the junior event.
The junior event might go a day later, so there might be more press. You might have more time a little bit more pressure to get to Illinois, Big Dogs in Iowa. So that's why I would recommend doing the pro event. That way you knew you had plenty of time to get to the 9-ball event.
If you guys have any questions, any parents or otherwise for Shane, especially if they're tough questions, I encourage them highly. I like seeing
Thanks,
my man
Mike.
squirm. Just
Yeah.
this is what teams do, buddy. You know. So
Yeah, no.
on that note, Shane, we were out there the last couple of years. I've been junior nationals in Vegas, been to junior nationals in Quincy. I don't know what on earth. I don't even know how I never heard of Quincy until you, Shane. And then now I think there's a good chance we're probably going to be out there again this year. Is what it sounds like. Is that right?
I sure hope so. It's fun to work together.
Yeah.
You know, the kids love seeing you. It's a good dynamic
Yeah.
that you bring to the table, that the rest of the team brings to the table for these kids. The ideas and how to make Quincy more exciting, you know, just keep flowing. It's always been, how do we introduce these kids to more Q sports and keep them occupied the whole time?
Yeah.
But it's, you know, with black ball falling, but hayball coming in, we're excited about that. We did introduce a 23 and under group this year, and we'll target, you know, a college audience to start bringing out to the juniors to give them another stepping stone after they age out of BEF. Then they can play in this 23 and under. And for this year, the 23 and under, just so everybody aware, the 23 and under men's 10 ball through the BEF, the champion will get an automatic allocation and will get paid entry into the men's world 10 ball championship next March. So
Nice.
all those kids that think they've aged out of BEF that are 23 and under, please come sign up. You can get entry fee paid to go to the world championship. Also, additionally, and it's not set in stone yet, but we're having some difficulties on the American side using all of our allocations to send professional men to the World 8-Ball Championship in New Zealand. And we're going down the list.
Why
as we
is that,
speak.
Shane?
You know, New Zealand's hard to get to, and it's an expensive flight. The payout is top heavy. And so I think that some of the pros look at that. And then they have some other commitments. And, you know, they have to make what's in the best interest for them. And that's what I always encourage them to do anyway.
That's surprising, though, just given like the recent change in dates that we saw from Predator and the WPA to shift it from, what was it before, in Venezuela over to New Zealand.
Right.
And so we're still kind of struggling to get top players to go out there.
Yeah, I mean, very honestly, this is just BCA perspective. You know, working with the players for years, when it's in the Far East in China and it's a far trip, it's always been difficult to send pros on that far of a trip. The women more so, especially. And with the tournament being so top heavy, I think the men are just measuring their ROI and saying, look, if I don't finish in the top 32, I'm really not going to, you know, I'm good. This is a loss for me. And, you know, I have to make the best business decision for myself.
Right.
And I completely respect that. And that's what they should be doing.
Yeah, I mean, especially just given the how hectic the schedule is in general, and travel expenses are only going up. Everything else on earth is only going up, you know. So you have to figure out, like, you know, you're rolling the dice, you're gambling, and figuring out, you know, can I get that return? Which is one of the reasons why I think it's kind of cool for, you know, that automatic return for playing in the hayball side of things out there in Quincy, because. And I'm assuming you continue to win. You're just going to continue to make more money on your money, which is great as well. Give me some of the. I know you mentioned it was 10,000 for first. Give me some of the other payouts for the hayball, Shane.
Oh, I'd have to pull it up real quick. So while I'm pulling it up, I will just tell you that one of the things I want to add about New Zealand is this year, for the first time ever, the BEF is going to pay for all the champions, the under 18 and under champion boy, 16 and under champion girl. I'm sorry, the girls champion, the boys champion, and the boys 16 and under champion. So the three champions in the 10 ball division at the BF will get their airfare covered by the BEF this year.
That's a nice little chunk.
Yeah, that's a nice little chunk. I took it personally on myself to just raise more money for the BEF so we could get more sponsors.
That's good, Shane.
My philosophy was base hits, not home runs. And what you'll see in the BEF sponsorship this year, when we list all our gold level sponsors, and if there's anybody that wants to sponsor us, send an email to Mike. He'll get in touch with us. We're always welcoming donations. The BEF is a 501c3. But, I raised my goal to say, hey, look, last year I raised $30,000. This year I raised $45,000. And what you'll see with all those gold level sponsors is that we don't believe in exclusivity agreements. And so for the first time in probably this industry's history, you'll see Simonis and Championship Cloth, both as sponsors of this event. You'll see Diamond and Legacy and Rasson and Olhausen.
As well they should, Shane. That
Yes.
fires me up, man, because everybody should just put their their personal things to the side, whatever business or otherwise, and just say, hey, listen, we're on the same team when it comes to the future of Q sports here in the US. And everybody has a responsibility. And shout out all those sponsors, Shane, because they deserve all the praise that they can get, man.
Absolutely. And I know I'm walking a tightrope getting everybody on the same boat because everybody as a sponsor, but everybody wants their brand recognition. But that's a challenge I'm definitely up for, because this is how we're going to grow the game in America. Let me rephrase that. This is how we're going to grow the sport in America, right? We're going to let these kids have an opportunity that way they don't have to do razzles and raffles on Facebooks for Qs to raise airfare money. Give them incentive to become a champion, and then we'll cover it. Additionally, this year we started introducing state championships at the BEF level.
I've noticed that, Shane. Yeah.
Yeah. We had over 20 state championships across the United States. We'll look to grow that number this year. We'll recognize each state champion at the BEF banquet. And, we are moving in the right direction with the juniors. And just the more support we can get, that's how we're going to grow this here in America.
No, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. And you got to do it from the state level, and then have them continue to have goals to achieve. And like I mentioned, just everyone kind of getting together to, further grow the juniors, and just the level of play here in the U.S. is going to be massive. And I'm excited to see how that's going to in turn just improve the talent level and dedication from some of these kids. So help me understand for a minute as we transition over to junior national stuff. So last year,
let me answer your question on the payouts first.
Oh, yeah.
I got to pull it up. So
yeah,
we're a hot mess. We're everywhere. Welcome to my world.
It's all good. It's called dogging it for a reason, buddy. We're all good. Yeah.
So the winner for the Heyball, men and women, against prizes exactly the same for both. The winner will get $10,000, all expenses paid, to Joy Heyball Masters next year. The runner-up will get $6,000. The semifinals will get $4,000. The quarterfinalist will get $2,000. Last 16 will get $1,250. Last 32 will get $500. Last 64 will get $250. And so, as you can see, with the $100 entry fee, some of us will walk away with more cash than others. Yeah. Right.
So, but I can't play, is what you're saying, though.
I mean,
I might be able to make final 32 and make $500, Shane. I mean, I can maybe win a couple games.
And again, that's going to come off that BEF tab, right? That's a credit.
No, I'll take the guaranteed over the roll of dice in this regard for sure. All right, Shane. So junior nationals last year, I saw some changes. How many juniors did you send to world championships last year?
Oh, I want to say we sent at least 12 or 13 because I know we had a couple. Predator and WPA had a couple of wild card spots, and I know one of those wild cards went to Sophia Mast. And so I want to say we have 12. We have 12 again this year. The BCA actually has 5 per category, so 5 for the 8 boys, 5 for the girls, 5 for the younger boys. Mm-hmm. 1 goes to Canada, and so the BCA is left with 4. In the background, the BCA is working to develop more North American partners with Puerto Rico and Mexico. That's a story for another day. But this year, we do still have 4 allocations per event. So the BCA will be sending, BEF will be sending the champion, the runner-up, and both semifinalists to New Zealand in those 3.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
But then only the champion will get their airfare covered. Is that right?
that's
Just for,
correct.
okay. Well, that's still pretty good because at least they get a spot to go and compete in the world championship. Which, by the way, we had a player, Adrian Prasad, make it to the finals of his division in the world championship. So
We,
hopefully,
we
Adrian gets
had
more.
we had we had three podiums last year. We had
I should know
Gr-
this. I should know this. Hold on. A Tate
yeah.
was a Tate involved in one of those?
No,
No,
not last year. In Puerto Rico, she was.
that's right, Bethany. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we had Sophia also get second, correct?
There you
Or
go.
did she get third?
You
What
should know
Adrian?
before me. I don't remember. I can barely remember what I ate for dinner last night.
Yeah, no, I can't either. I know. I want to say Sophia got second, Adrian got second, and one of the Vaughn boys. I'm gonna mess it up. It's Garrett or Grayson. He got third. So we had three podiums last year. In general, on average, over the past 10 years, and watching these juniors and going to these junior world championships, it's always been pretty frustrating for me because I have to deal with all the big wigs from Europe and Asia, and we're always running side bets like push-ups and beers or whatever on how our continent's going to do and how many podiums we're going to get. That Europe guy always likes to rub it in my face. Thanks, Tommy. You'll see it. But on average, over the past 10 years, North America has averaged one podium for all three disciplines.
Which is
For all
pretty great.
I mean, it's good. But, when Europe's averaging 6 to 7 podiums per 10 years, it was a big step in the right direction for us to get to 3. I think that shows to the level of commitment that this industry has had over the past few years to the junior programs with Raw Hanna and the JIC and the JAS now, with Predator, with the BEF stepping up and doing more state championships, with Eddie Altman doing his Monica Webb Challenge of Champions, with all these major players supporting these juniors. We're starting to see it on the podium when we go to Worlds. And so as an industry, I just want to continue to challenge our industry to put more effort into our juniors so we can continue to see this, our growth and development in the sport.
So, how many different divisions are they going to have for boys and girls out there this year?
So there's 3. There's 19 under 19 boys, under 19 girls, and under 17 boys.
But
We
no
say
under 17 girls.
no under 17 girls. It's just one division. I know Europe also does the 23 and under for their European championships. That's another reason why the BEF introduced that, because maybe 5 years down the road, we can talk about doing an under 23 championship between Europe and America as well. So there's a lot of things like going into the infrastructure. I know you love that word. We should drink here.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Is Aishan available? Maybe we can bring him on too.
there's a lot of stuff being built behind the scenes from the BCA's perspective that's going to continue to push the sport forward.
What's been the sign up looking like for players? Like, is there more or less? What do you think the turnout's going to be like for juniors out there?
I hope it's more. As the salesman is in me, I always want more. I always want to see growth.
Yeah.
I'm not watching that every day. Carol Larada, Mariah King Pearson, and Steve, your BFF Steve Matthias.
That's my
are
man.
watching that. Yeah. They're watching those, and Steve's following up with them to make sure everything's on par. Everything I've heard is that we are on schedule for numbers for last year. You never know with what we're going to see. We got a lot of walk-ins last year. We will never turn away a junior. That's why we introduced the 23 and over group, because we just want to keep having this event grow and really like a Q Sports circus. So Cecil Messer likes to use the term Pulapalooza or Lollapalooza, that this event's becoming. I like to use the term that, hey, we'll provide the tent, you bring the circus, and we're just trying to make this a week full of Q Sports that these kids can't get enough of.
It was a lot of fun out in Quincy, primarily because there's not anything else to do in Quincy besides go play pool. So having all those tables nearby the hotel is great. And now that you're adding in different things, just going to make it that much more of an exciting event. What else can juniors expect out there, Shane, for the week out in Quincy? And what can parents expect as well?
Well, that's a good question. I'm putting together the event program now that will give you all the attractions and Both
There
of them.
really is more stuff to do out there. There's
You
good
know,
places to go have some dinner, and there's like an Applebee's and a good steak place nearby.
there are some good restaurants. There's a
Yeah.
movie theater. There's a go-kart track. I think 20 minutes down the road there is a casino. So if people wanted to stay at the casino and drive
Oh,
their
that's
way
good,
in,
Shane.
do that.
That's good. Yeah,
For
go
the
and put that out there.
professionals, and there is a lot to do. We're right across the Mississippi from the home of Mark Twain, so that there's a little museum dedicated to Mark Twain, and that growth. His if you didn't know, Mark Twain was a big cue sport enthusiast, and
Really? I don't
there's
know.
there's an old quote by Mark Twain, and I'm going to butcher it, but I'll paraphrase it to say you can always tell a sign of a misspent youth in a good pool player, or something. A good pool player is a sign of a misspent youth. I
There you
think
go.
is how it's paraphrased.
That makes sense. That actually
Yeah,
makes pretty good sense there.
yeah,
Yeah,
right. It still resonates today.
it does. I felt that one right here, buddy. Actually.
Yeah, and what a couple of things we changed. I saw Melissa McBride put in the chat with the 14-1. Last year we did free entry in the 14-1 to give the kids exposure to the event. They all had a good time, and they all learned this game that was new to them. We're going to run that event a little differently this year. We're going to dedicate 2 tables just to the 14-1, sponsored by McDermott. And throughout the week, kids can go and have, like a carnival act. They can put down $10 or $25 or whatever it is and get 3 chances for a high run. And they can do that as many times as they want throughout the week. And then on the last 2 days, we're going to take the boys and girls and then the 16 and under co-ed and take the 4 top high runs and then put them in a single elimination tournament to find out the champion. And so
I like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's get it.
And, we also want a high run champion. We want to start, keep that statistic of who is the high run champion every year. And whoever's the high run champion will get a $1,000 scholarship from the BEF. And we'll continue to keep track of that for years to come as well. But that's why we're doing that with Heyball this year and only $25. We want the kids and the junior players to be exposed to this other discipline. And, if they get an all expense paid trip to China, more power to them. Like let's experience the world. This is an international sport, and it is played differently in all corners of the world. Brazil, they play something different. Russia, they play something different. China, they play hayball. It is different all over the world. And if you focus on the cue sports and this sport enough, it's going to let you see the world. So we might as well expose these kids to it while we can. The other bit of news I wanted to drop with you is that the BEF and Eddie Altman are working out an agreement for the BEF to assume managing responsibilities for the Monica Webb Challenge of Champions. And so we're getting that memorandum of understanding signed this week, and we'll make the formal announcement, if I didn't already, at the BEF opening ceremony. And so then in March, the BEF will run the Monica Webb Challenge of Champions event, which is similar to like a Moscone Cup tile event. So just more opportunities to showcase these top junior
Oh, that's
players.
great. Yeah. I remember hearing about that event. Yeah, when we were out there in the trade show, actually.
Yep. We will. The thought process right now, and I'll have to get both BEF and BCA boards to sign off on it. But the thought process now is to incorporate that into the BCA Expo, because as you saw at the BCA Expo, I think we have a lot of distributors and amusement people out there that we could expose this game to, and that a lot of these people could really get behind this. And if they see it with the juniors, it's something that will really resonate. And I think this is a good audience, and the kids will love going to Vegas again. And so I think this could be a win-win-win for a lot of people.
That's a pretty good idea. I like that, and it's good to put those kids in front of a professional audience, starting off at that age as well, and showcasing them and their talents. And plus, it'll give more stuff to do out there as well for everyone. So that's awesome. Although the trade show was a ton of fun, I highly recommend if you own a business to go out there and even if you don't, just go out there and take in all the different companies that come in from across the world, because it was something very unique that I had the privilege of going to this year, which I still owe Shane a lot of content, by the way. So,
a topic for another conversation. I was going to ask you how was your experience, and
I loved
what
it,
you
man.
taught us.
Honestly, like there's a number of cool things. One, you get to see just companies from all over the world that you don't get to like get in front of. Two, you get to see not only their stuff that they currently have, but more importantly, stuff that they're coming out with, right? So you really get a sneak peek as far as like lines of cues and products and whatever else that might hit the market coming up in the next year or so, whatever. So, but it's you get to see all the heads of all these companies too, and then you get to hear their passions. And I remember specifically like talking with Chad in particular from Diamond Billiard Products, and that video was really great. I just haven't gotten to it yet, but he was talking about like his message and why they decided to come out here every single year and how vital it is to the industry and how they feel like it's a responsibility to come out here. And it's great, man. They really everyone tries to put their best foot forward. They all have a ton of passion. It shows in the products and the way that they position them out there. But it's like we're all in the same like nutty circus together. You know what I mean? Everyone enjoys the game and everyone loves the sport, and so it's cool, especially right now with just the way the industry is going. Is like everyone's just pushing each other to just level up their game and have more innovation, more competitive pricing, a better aesthetic, more value for the end consumers. And you really see that being a point of focus. And so and listen, there is something for everybody out there. You mentioned the junior players, and if juniors are watching, put your earmuffs on because every effing pro player in the country should be out there during that trade show. And if you want to if you want to get sponsored or you want to do this or you want that, if you want things from companies, you go out there and represent your brand in front of them. That is the number one place that you can get highlighted in front of everyone who makes those decisions. The movers and shakers, they are there, and every single pro owes it to be out there rather than complaining from the house why they need more help, whether it comes to traveling or whatever else, because there's opportunity there. You just got to go out there and invest in it, and more importantly, put your own best foot forward with your own brand because it's there's people willing to support those in the industry out there for sure.
So that was a testimonial, not a paid advertisement. I appreciate that, Mike. Thank you.
You'll get the invoice, but no, I'm kidding. No, that was no, that's 100% speaking for me, and Shane did not put me up to that. I guarantee it. And but it's cool, man. Like there's just there you get to see tables that you'll never get to see. You get to see cues that you've never gotten to see with. You can hit balls all day and night, and it's like imagine. I'm a parent, right? So like I take my kids trick or treating every year and we go from like house to house and everyone's got their own thing going. It's like that, but for adults who love pool because you get to bounce around from like one house to the next and just see, and everyone's giving stuff away and you get to just try, you get to take tables on a test run. They give away, I think they gave away a motorcycle last year. Like there's so much stuff going on out there. I was out there probably I thought it was a little short, but like for business owners, I get it. But like you're out there for what, like 8 hours plus a day, give or take, maybe like 6 to 8 hours. But like there's not enough time in the day. There's that many vendors. And then on top of that, with y'all's partnership with the amusement side of things, man, there was video games. There was just all kinds of stuff.
Virtual reality. Yes.
It was nuts, man. It was nuts. It was a lot of fun. There was so many things to do out there. And but it's all like hyper condensed. Like you're in there, you're in a vacuum, and you get the best of the entire pool world has to offer in every single company. So
Yeah,
I think it's great.
One more part while we're on it. The BCA is always like the trade show, the BCA Expo is really in years past has been geared towards retailers and dealers, and pool room operators don't really come. They don't see a lot of advantage because they're not buying new tables all the time like the dealers are. But what I'd like to encourage all pool room operators that might listen to this podcast, there's going to be a heavy marketing push to get you guys out there too, because with us paired up with the amusement show, us the same location as the bar and restaurant show, and right across the street from the Pizza Expo, there are more opportunities for pool room owners and bar room owners to take advantage of the BCA Expo now more than ever before. To Mike's point, you'll get to meet all the heads of the billiard industry, but with amusement, bar and restaurant, and pizza, that's a fun full week of stuff you can take.
How the hell did I not get any pizza whenever I was out there, man? I was so tilted because I heard about this I never got a chance to go out there and check it out, but I heard they had some pretty good stuff out there.
Oh, hold on. You did have a good meal one night, though, right? Like there was a good
Oh
meal that
man,
one
that
night.
Italian restaurant was real good, Shane. That Italian restaurant, yeah, that one was delicious. Kudos to the BCA for that one.
I have two questions for you, Mike, and I'm
Yep.
going off track, and that's okay.
Okay. That's all right. That's what
But
we're here for.
one, who's the best hot sauce maker in the industry?
Whoo, man. Let me tell you. So my man right below, he makes a pretty good hot sauce. So only three come to mind. First of all,
Yeah.
it's you, Sky, Nick DeLeon makes some good hot sauce
Oh,
too. It depends on what you like. Um, Sky makes a pretty good hot sauce with some nice bite. Nick's got some flavor, but Shane Tyree, I like some heat. The problem is that it can you better have some water nearby because Shane don't mess around. That's for sure.
hey, I'm a
It'll
Texas boy. I like it hot. That's good.
yeah, yeah. It's
You know,
very
but
good
hey,
actually.
I welcome Nick DeLeon and Scott. Let's all sit down and let's have a like hot sauce off, and we can make this happen.
Oh, we can for sure. Yeah, I'll bring the chips. You boys bring the sauce. We'll line up a panel of judges and we'll settle this debate once and for all. I'm 100% in on that, man, for sure.
So one more question for you, Mike, and I've asked you this
Okay.
before, but I think it's good to ask you. You know, why we have a hot mic. 2 years ago, before you really knew me and the BCA, you had a preconceived notion of what the BCA was and
Right?
what it was for the industry. But now that you like know us and you know the BCA personally, you know,
Yeah.
Steve and myself, what would you say that the BCA, you know, how is that perception changed for you? And what would you say is the value of the BCA for the industry? And do you see a value for the BCA in the industry, I guess? I mean, just like, how has your perception changed and what
Yeah.
is your take on it now that you know us?
Well, it's funny because me and Shane have like a love hate relationship, but it's all based on love because I got a lot of respect for Shane. But he knows that with me, I'm gonna be honest with him, and I like to give him shit when I can, but I come from a place of like wanting change. And one thing that I learned early on from my dealings with Shane was that he's in that same battle. He just does it in a different capacity, right? And so initially initially when I thought about the BCA, I thought you guys were just a bunch of blood sucking mosquitoes who just had no. Well, I didn't see what you guys did, and I didn't certainly didn't give you guys any respect. But yeah, that was more as a whole, not to you personally, and you know that.
Right.
But now, after learning more about it for a few years, there is certainly a place for it, and there's a ton of value there. You got to be able to showcase things properly, and you got to have things in place like junior nationals and to go out there and set up these events. Like, listen, seeing the trickle down, like when it comes to state championships and things like that, god damn it, that's what you guys ought to be doing. Being that liaison between like that event and getting companies on board and to put aside their differences, that's exactly what you guys ought to be doing. There's still a lot of opportunity there for you guys, and when problems come up, like, that's always going to be the highlight, is like the problems, right? But like all these things that you guys are doing on the back end, like guaranteeing these player spots in world championships, up in your game when it comes to paying their airfare. Like, there's work being done in those 12 months in between then and now. And I think like it has turned quite a bit, but a lot of it was also like in on my end, lack of education, right? Because I didn't know any better. But like your lack of marketing didn't help that any either. You know what I mean? And so
Right.
I think from a combination of me, busting your chops to things like this and doing things when it comes to marketing on social media and further educating and just pushing that like nonstop throughout the year. I think there's more open mindedness, at least for me. Like, I'll go to bat. And like I mentioned about the trade show, listen, there's nothing that like in that statement that was 100% that I didn't believe in there. And there's probably a lot more that I could say candidly in a positive way about it. But yeah, man, my perception's completely changed. Now, there's still a lot of things you guys can do a lot differently. And we talked about some opportunities in the last like month or so when it comes to some issues going on, within South America and otherwise. And so, but those are things that like before. The good thing is, like, now that me and you got more of a relationship, I go to you first before I just like blast you on out there and without getting to know what the real situation is. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so
Thank you for that. And I think there's been a couple of times when you've gotten a dirty text from me, right? Like
at least, yeah,
because of
yeah,
that.
a few times, yeah, yeah. But that's part of our like dynamic, which I just
Right.
completely appreciate because listen, you didn't owe me anything. I remember the first time I saw Shane Tyree. Well, actually, I'd seen Shane Tyree around a lot, and I always wondered who is that suit because I knew a lot of people in the industry, and I'll never forget. It was at the Rio. I took a photo of you, and I sent it to Pinozo, and I said, Mike, who is this guy? I know he's somebody. I just don't know who the hell this guy is. And so Mike let me know who you were. I don't think Mike was in town at that point, but later on I run into Shane and I'll never forget. I said, "Hey, what's your name?" You know, I think that was exactly my question. And Shane stops and looks at me and he says, "My name is Molina Mike." And I just started laughing. I knew we'd get along right away after that. But no, look, I think you guys are doing great. I want to like you guys putting forth more of an effort when it comes to juniors, when it comes to professionals, when it comes to events that you guys are a part of or wanting to grow or whatever, like keep on doing it and keep on letting people know that you're doing it because if I know your ass is working hard, Shane, like I want to go to bat with you. You know what I mean? I want to go to war with you. But if I don't know what the hell you're doing, then and I'm not saying me specifically, but just in general, like you don't have any patience or favor or anything like that when it comes to people. And I think you guys are just doing a bang up job with it. But we'll continue to keep you honest, that's for sure. But we'll also continue to go to bat for you because I think that you guys are doing a great job in a lot of aspects for sure.
Hey, I really appreciate that. You know, just a funny, side note for me. And one of the things I do to keep, me inspired to do my job. And one, you go to the juniors and we said it, like when we're walking away from junior nationals, it inspires us for the rest of the year.
Completely.
Just to deal with these.
Completely.
Oh, you see the beautiful love of this sport and this game. And you walk away going, how can we make it better? How can we grow this industry? But
Yep.
I also, one of the other hats is, I get to go and deal with the pros and deal with the world championships. I was the BCA player representative for a while, and I would deal directly with the pros to send them to world championships, the American pros. But now that I'm going to the world championships, one of the hobbies, and just on a side note, and I don't share this with anybody, and I've shared a couple pictures with you, but, I'll pull the players aside and, I'll have them take a picture of them giving me the bird. And
Yeah,
anytime
I've seen these pictures, by the way.
And I have a collection of them, right? I mean, I have a collection of probably 30, 40 pros giving me the bird. But I have those all, in my office. I'm not going to show you. I've always told the pros I'm not going public with them. But this is motivation for me to say, Shane, work harder. Like you're not doing enough for us. And so they love to give me the bird. Jason Shaw more than anybody.
We all do, buddy. We all do, buddy.
But it's motivation for me. I go back and I see these pictures. And I'm like, we should be working harder. We should be able to make this a sport where the top 100 players, the top 200 players are all making a decent living,
Yeah.
right? Like that should be the goal. It's not the top 15. We mentioned it earlier in the podcast. The top 15 are now making six figures a year. When do we get a point when the top 100 are making six figures a year?
Well, listen, that's why, like, all BS aside, that's where I think something like a trade show could be super valuable because you have these companies that are there under the same roof that don't know a damn thing about professional pool or amateur pool or junior, semi-professional pool, whatever you want to think of. And there's your opportunity. Go shake some hands. Go let them know what kind of character you have. Go put your best foot forward because you're already under that same umbrella for a few days. Now you got to go make the best of it.
We have more companies now who've always considered themselves furniture and not involved in the sport. We have more companies now reaching out to me going, hey, how do I get involved? How do I get involved to, support this event, to support a pro? You see more Q guys now with higher level sponsorships for top players. But
saw Mario He with a casino sponsor just recently.
Now I'm starting to hear it from the table manufacturers, from the furniture manufacturers. Like everybody's seeing what the Predators and the Match Rooms and the Joys are bringing to the table to expose this sport to the rest of the world. Yeah. I sat down with Billiard TV, and their numbers are astronomical comparatively. I mean, I think I did a comparison of Billiard TV numbers and the last World 10 Ball, and I think in total it got 8 million views. Well, just to give you a comparison, like the Game of Thrones season finale got 8 million views. The Donald Trump season finale of The Apprentice got 8 million views. So we're on par. Like, our sport is on par with all of this. How do we keep exposing it? And how do we keep growing it together? I think, again, no exclusives, get the whole industry to move in the same direction. That's why I continue to believe it's imperative that WPA and Matchroom figure something out, and that we could just keep moving this industry together, united together. We will always be stronger when we're united.
Well, I give you guys a lot of I give you guys a lot of busting you up a little bit when it comes to all that. But I agree with you. Like, at the end of the day, just given where everything's at, it'd be a lot easier if some of the bigger movers and shakers can just figure out a way to work together. Because imagine what we can all do rowing the same way, because we're already doing a pretty great job individually, and so we have to just figure out a way to kind of just merge those two different companies and just make it work, man. Make it work, because we all want the same thing, and if everyone does their part, it will grow. I 100% believe it, because we're already starting to see it as it is. So a lot of stuff going on over that week, but Post Stuff will not be doing the stream this year. Is that right?
That's correct. Well, we're still going to have you in attendance, but the BCA, the BEF kind of got our hand slapped last year, and I won't go into those. But yeah, it was. I mean, it was mutual. I knew it was coming, and I've never been afraid of that kind of thing. But we've been tasked by the BEF board to make sure that all the BEF juniors are streamed, and our TV table is streamed through our YouTube channel. So it will go through YouTube at Billiard Education Foundation. So all the TV table will be streamed through there. The Joy Heyball will be streamed through YouTube at Billiard Congress of America, as well as, and we haven't even touched on it.
Nobody knows what that YouTube channel is, by the way.
Well, that's because we're starting it here in about a month, but that's okay. Okay. I got some instructional videos. Another story. But, and we haven't even discussed it, but this year we're also hosting the North American 8-ball and 9-ball wheelchair championships.
Oh, nice. Okay.
In conjunction with the juniors and Heyball. So we're going to have, the 24 wheelies from North America represented.
Is that the right term? Is that
I was using that term with my person, but I'll be more woke.
Okay.
The wheelchair championships. And
wheelchair athletes.
Wheelchair athletes. We're excited to have them. They're definitely going to bring a new dynamic. And I've been working with the president, Jeff Dozel, for 15 years, and he's super appreciative that we finally figured it out. And I've joked with him, like, good Jeff, it only took me 15 years to figure this out. But we did finally figure it out, and they will be at the Junior Nationals this year as well. Again, we are trying to create this big tent and letting all these different groups bring their circus. And we're already planning for 2025 to be bigger and better than 2024. So let's see how we can keep this snowball going.
Give me some dates, Shane, for those who are watching maybe do not know.
Yeah, so the men and women's pro Heyball tournament will start on July 8th. There will be a players meeting to go over the rules the morning of July 8th, Monday, July 8th. It will finalize on July 7th, July 11th. The juniors will start the evening of June 8th, and I believe that's going to start Heyball, 14-1, and then the U23 10-ball. And then the next day, we will start 9-ball and 14-1 and 8-ball while the Heyball runs concurrently. We'll wrap up July 13th on Saturday with the 10-ball champions. So it's a packed full week. I think there's 20 different events from the 8-ball, the 9-ball, the 10-ball, the 14-1, the Heyball. We have different age brackets. So the kids can come, the younger kids can play 9-ball. The older kids can qualify for the world championships in 10-ball. Everybody gets a shot at 8-ball. everybody gets a shot at 14-1, and everybody gets a shot at Heyball as well. So we're definitely building in the right direction.
That's great, man. That's really good. And I love seeing that. I'm excited to go out there and see those juniors. I will be there the entire week out in Quincy, Illinois. So it's gonna be a good time. And like you mentioned before, and this is why I love going, is because of the kids. Like going out there and seeing the kids compete, it really just motivates you like no other to go out there and work even harder for them, because they're not like, they don't deal with any of the BS within the industry. They just want to play pool. They just love playing pool, and they just want to play pool, and that's it. And that's why I just love it. I love going out there, and it's like there's so many stories within that I love seeing firsthand. I love posting online and things like that. We had that one where Sam gave that kid a cue that got like 1 million views. You got the one where McBride had called a foul himself that just blew up on the internet. And there was so many others within that. Sophia losing in heartbreaking fashion in her match to, I think it was Kennedy, and then going back and getting a wild card spot. Like there's just so many cool things. Savannah dominating, last year, and those two being in final after final. There's just so many things that go on throughout that week. And then when you add in the wheelchair and then the Heyball and some other junior stuff going along with that, it's really going to make for a fun week of great pool. That's just going to set the stage for our athletes to go and compete on a worldwide stage for the next 12 months. So I'm excited, man.
Yeah. So just remember that when you invoice me.
On that note, we will see all you guys here pretty soon. Like I said, I got a ton of other shows. What's up, buddy?
Hey, no, thanks for your time. I appreciate you getting me on here. Just a last plug for all the juniors. The champions in tin ball will get their airfare paid to New Zealand. Hotels are covered for athletes as well. So, I know New Zealand's a big chunk of change. It's a heck of an event for all the pros out there on the fence, men and women. We do want a full field. Let's sign up. The payouts are great. It's not too far from big dogs. We do need more women. So all women masters that are playing in leagues that don't think you have an opportunity, that you're maybe within driving distance, give it a shot. Let's come out. Let's come out, have a good time, support the kids. The more people we can come out and show support to the juniors and the Heyball players, even if you're within driving distance and just want Molina Mike's autograph. Come on out. Let's have a good time. We appreciate the support. Mike, I look forward to working together again. And thanks for giving me an opportunity this afternoon.
No, it's my pleasure. I want to say good job, because you are doing a great job, and seeing all these new things that are added compared to last year, all the sponsors that you guys are able to get, all these things like around the country that you guys are working on. You guys, I give you guys a lot of shit, but you deserve a pat on the back whenever you're doing a great job, and you guys have certainly done that this year. So I look forward to seeing the event. Like I mentioned before, we got a lot of other stuff coming up in the next couple of weeks, so the next couple of days, actually. So make sure and keep your notifications on. Big shout out to all of our sponsors on the show. You see them all around left and right. We could not do it without them. So Shane, it's a pleasure, buddy. We'll see you real soon. And the invoice is in the mail, buddy.
Hey, thanks again, Nate. I love being on the podcast.
Nate. My man's got jokes.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey, where can they get more information if they want to find out about?
So register for the juniors at billiardeducation.org. Okay. If you're interested in the Heyball event, just send me an email, shane@bca-pool.com, and I can answer all your questions and get you signed up for that event as well. So we look forward to having you.